All right, my name is Mac. I am a running coach and I'm here to help you get faster. We're going to talk about what to do. How do you know when to stop doing a workout and not like, oh, I've hit my 8 reps, I'm done. We're going to talk about the workouts where you have a range and when your goal is not to absolutely dig and go into the well. And surprise, surprise, you are not supposed to go all freaking out every single workout. That is not usually the goal of most of your workouts. So we're going to talk about exactly when to know how to be done. And it is going to storm rain soon, so this is going to be a short, quick, sweet video, hopefully. So to give you a little bit of context, I ran started running in middle school, ran in high school, and then all the way ran competitively in college. And I was a part of some really good programs growing up. My middle school one was really good, and then I got fed into the high school one, which was even better, and then college even better after that. So I've had a lot of experience of running multiple running workouts and knowing at a bunch of different levels. So I ran D2 at a pretty competitive D2 college. We were definitely up there. We could compete with some D1 schools. I run at nationals multiple times in my career, and now I'm a mom. I'm still running postpartum, all that stuff. So most running workouts that you're going to get assigned usually have some sort of range, and even if they don't, you always want to be willing to like not necessarily follow every workout to a T. The biggest thing I think that made me a successful runner growing up was the ability to listen to my body and to know when to stop, when to pull back, when is too much, when I'm not doing enough. And so really to get to like a higher level of running, you have to learn that it is not just about like the reps you're doing. It's not about the pace you can do. It's about honestly listening to your body and being able to kind of take that next step of like you almost know what's better for you, right? Your coach is going to be able to prescribe you certain things and certain paces and certain reps. But like on that day when you show up, you might be exhausted because you didn't get enough sleep. You might be slightly sick or under the weather. You might just have a little bit of an off day, or you might be having a really good day. It could be really hot, really cold. You're going to have all these outside circumstances coming in. So like if you don't have like a personal coach watching you there and like having real-time check-ins, you're doing like more virtual coaching, which is what a lot of adults do nowadays. You kind of have to be able to like half coach yourself, and that's what hopefully I can help you do today. So to stop a running workout, like usually a good range is like if you cannot continue to do the next rep at either the same speed or faster, then you should not do the rep at all. So if you're, let's say, do like hill repeats and you have 8 to 10 hill repeats and you have been like consistently like giving your best effort and you're like slowly kind of getting faster and faster, and then when you get down to the bottom of your hill and you're going to go again, if you know that like you are going to absolutely die, that is when you've maxed out, and everything else that you're doing above that is basically like ruining you and putting you in the hole. Like you don't want to dig so hard that like you start to lose your form, you start to like risk injury, you like tap out of your body. Like there's only so much that you can gain from a running workout, and doing too much too soon too fast, that is when you start to get injured and you start to just not get the benefits, and you almost like overdo it to a sense. So you want to like basically ride that line and you want to get as close to it as possible to like get like a lot out of you but not go too much. So what does that look like? You're like if the and this is going to take some time. If you are a newer runner, you are not going to be able to like pick this up right away, but it's like continuing to show up each workout, like testing it out, seeing like when is too much and when can you push. And you'll be able to kind of tell like, oh, like I that last rep that I thought I could do that I just ran way slower and my form fell apart, I should not have done that, right? And you're going to be able to tell. So like, okay, we need to cut. We need to be done with the workout. So a big thing is like your form is starting to fall apart. Like if you are not like driving your arms more, like if you're not keeping that like 90-degree angle, if you're not pumping them and you're like kind of feel like you're swaying back and forth, your legs are kind of a little bit out of control. You're kind of going left to right. You're not standing up straight as much. That's when you want to like get out. That's when you want to stop doing the workout. So that's like form things. And then pace, usually and you can be off by like a couple seconds, but usually the goal is you want to stick on the pace or you want to get a little bit faster. So a lot of the workouts we did in college, like 400-meter repeats, it was like starting at like your 5K pace, race pace, and getting down to your mile pace. So you're just getting like faster and faster as time goes on. And like the goal should always be to hit like about the reps that you're going for. Like, so if we did 12 to 14 400s, like my goal should make sure that I can start at a certain pace and I can make it through at least 12, right? Like if you're being prescribed a certain amount of reps and you're like, maybe they're giving you like an effort-based pace, if you can't hit that pace continually and you just like fall apart and you can't get those reps in, then you have done the workout incorrectly, right? And I don't want to say that like you have failed a workout, because I think there's so much that you can get from every single workout. Even if you do fail a workout, even if you don't necessarily hit all of your times, or you have to tap out a little bit earlier than you wanted to, and instead of like 6 reps, you got instead of 8 reps, you got 6 in, you got the lower end. That doesn't mean that like you failed the workout. That doesn't mean you got enough out of it. It's just like what your body could handle on that day. And like your body's going to be able to handle different things on different days. So just knowing, checking in with yourself, I think is huge. So to know when you're done with a running workout, 2 things is like, can I get faster? Can I stay at the same pace? And then running form wise, like, is your body like in a straight line? Making sure that you're not hunching over. If your arms are trying to go swing side to side more, that's when you kind of have to be done. If your legs are kind of like reaching more, you feel like your stride isn't the same, you don't feel like strong, that's when you got to cut the workout and you just have to be done. And know that it's not like, just know that it's not a failure on your part. Like, this is where you want to continue to, like, this is where you're going to get the most gains, right? When you push the line, when you go over it, you risk injury, you risk like not being able to recover well enough and continued on with your training. So just knowing that most workouts are not going to be like all out until you are like absolutely dying. And there's going to be those workouts, and that's just like part of your coach is going to communicate with you. Like, this is where we dig, this is where we go all into the well. But most oftentimes, like, you really don't hit a lot of those workouts. And not saying that like all the other workouts aren't hard or you're not putting in a good effort, but we're just not going to like complete exhaustion, or like you'll hear like failure workouts. And some coaches, that's like their training philosophy. I have found that we don't see that as much as often, and usually it leads to more injuries. So if you'd like to stay in the sport for the long term and you want to reach bigger goals over the years, making sure that your workouts aren't like to failure every single time, and knowing which workouts, like what you're supposed to get out of each workout, I think is really important. Okay, hope that helped. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, anything you'd like to see more of. I hope that helped. Subscribe.